Welcome, artists, to another tiny painting adventure here in Monet Cafe Studio. In this lesson, we'll be painting a brilliant night sky with impressionistic mark making and a beautiful color palette. I'll also be sharing with you a question I get all the time. How do you make those tiny marks with those big chunky pastels? I mean, check out how tiny these little city lights are. All right, everyone, come on into the studio, and here we go. I love these pre-cut artist trading cards by Color Fix. Unfortunately, they don't make them anymore, but I'm going to show you how to make your own. I had someone give me or gift me some of these years ago, and I still have quite a few left. And I do love how Color Fix has so many colors. I also love these little tiny easels. When you finish your tiny creations, they're so cute. Of course, you can buy individual sheets of Color Fix, but I love this rainbow pack. It has such a gorgeous assortment of colors, and Color Fix by Art Spectrum is actually a pretty affordable surface. I always recommend it for beginners if you want to try a sanded surface. It's water friendly, and other than the rainbow pack, they also have a few other packs. One's called a warm pack with primarily warm colors, and one is called a cool pack. But I wanted to mention something else. I'm rubbing my finger across these because they're so nice and sanded. But the rainbow pack that I have is the one that's called Original. You see Color Fix Original, and there's actually two different textured surfaces you can get with Color Fix. The Original, like I said, is a little more textured, which I like, but they also have a Color Fix Smooth, like you can see with this warm pack here. So that's a personal preference, and actually the smooth surface might work better if you like working in pan pastels. All right, let me show you the reference image. I have a collection on unsplash.com. I make these collections of different reference images. As part of the game challenge over on the Patreon page includes a sky image. I wanted to paint one of my tiny paintings with a sky, and this one is just gorgeous. I particularly like the little lights in the city. And stay tuned to the end where I show you how to paint those tiny lights with big chunky pastels. Because this scene was already fairly dark, I decided to use this kind of neutral magenta color. And I'm cutting off those little white borders that come with, I think, all Color Fix sanded pastel papers. And I decided with this one not to go as tiny as the traditional artist trading cards of 2.5 by 3.5 inches, like my previous two tutorials, but I'm going to make this one 4 inches by 6 inches. And I always try to cut my surfaces in a way to have multiple sizes to work from the remnants. All right, let's get this surface taped up to my board and get started. By the way, my patrons, if you're watching this now, you have your version already over on the Patreon page, and it is all real-time content. But not to worry, Monet Cafe viewers and followers, you're getting plenty of content here as well. And I've basically just taped up my piece of Color Fix with some black artist tape. And I love this limb dispenser. It just makes it hands-free and so much easier. And I like black. I like using a black foam core board and black tape. By the way, while I'm, moving my hands around here, I wanted to mention I've had some comments in not many, but a few that say something about me being a product pusher. You guys know that I always say, use what you have. But if I don't share the products, guess what happens? I get comments saying, would you please share the products that you're using? So please understand that I don't mean to push these products, but I do like to share what they are. And on that note, I'm using a very affordable brand of pastels. It's Paul Rubens Pastels. I think they're only available on Amazon. I will have product links in the description of the video, but like I always say, use what you have. The good thing is these are very affordable. Now, I didn't use only Paul Rubens, but I added a few more. But the set right here is the Paul Rubens 40 set. That's a really great set. And the quality of these pastels for the price is quite surprising. I believe this one is it a 72 set? They have a few. I think 36, 48, 72. 90 something. But again, I'll share the link. Now, here's my little test to show you how soft and colorful these are. I call it the finger test. I just drag my finger across. And if you do this with pastels and a lot of color comes off like this, you're talking about a really good application of pastel. And here we go. I'm going to begin with the dark bottom third, even kind of less than a third in the foreground. And I started with this. It looked much darker in my hand than when I applied it, and it looked more neutral. So I wanted to tone down that saturation by adding a little bit of a gray color. And this is a perfect example of layering with soft pastels. And I could see instantly it wasn't dark enough. So here I'm looking for more of the darks in this little Paul Rubens 40 set. And I think I actually used black. I don't use black often. I prefer like dark color, like dark purple, dark magenta. I wish I had used my tape on the back here. I was kind of wrestling with the little edges of the tape. And I used this dark to raise the horizon line a little bit. I felt like I had it a little bit low. So I'm just now layering some of those same original colors to have it a little more consistent. And this is kind of going to be where my cityscape is. I'm going to make the indication of little buildings way, way, way in the distance. But now I have to create my mountain in the distance. And I have this little set of purples that I keep. I love purple for shadows and just highlights and punches of color. But this is a dark eggplant color. It's made by Terry Ludwig. And I wanted to even darken my foreground more. And I know my mountain is going to be lighter than my foreground, but I go ahead and get in a dark base. After all, this is a night painting. Here I'm making a little mark where I want my focal point of light. I'm imagining a sun setting in that particular location. So it's kind of like a little color note. Now, this is a Terry Ludwig purple, and I'm using it to just layer lightly over that dark mountain. See how it lightened it up already? And I'm using, this is actually a different color. It's a little more neutral. It's a Mount Vision pastel. Like I said, I didn't use only the Paul Rubens pastels, and I'm getting in the energy and the gesture of these cloud shapes. And I'm sure you can tell this portion of the video is sped up substantially. I'm going to tell you real quick how to get the real-time content. It's by becoming a patron of mine on my Patreon page. It's only $5 a month, and you unlock hundreds of lessons on my Patreon page. One thing I love about it is it's a family. I get to see your work, we have contests, and it's a lot of fun. I currently have a coupon code to get 50% off the first month, and that's good until March 31st. And while I've got you here, a quick favor, would you click that like button? It really helps YouTube to share this video to more artists. Also, please leave me a comment. I love to hear where you're from and any comments or questions about the tutorial. All right, let's get back to it. All right, I'm slowing this down actually to real time because I wanted to show you this beautiful green. I think it's actually a Sennelier pastel. And yes, you can use green in a sky. The value was right. I was looking at that pretty little almost smoky color above the mountains on the lower left side there, and this color just seemed perfect for that area. So get creative with color. Just get your values close. Now, I'm speeding it back up, but I wanted to let you know the end of this video has real time. Remember, I'm going to tell you how to make those little tiny marks and some of my tips and tricks for that technique. You could actually consider this technique I'm using right here called blocking in. I talk about it in a lot of my videos, and we're really just blocking in the major shapes, colors, and values. And I am getting creative with color, but for the most part, I would say I'm using what's called local color. That means the color that's in the scene. I'm stretching it a bit, but I'm not going too awfully out of the color range. And I did darken those clouds. You saw that dark purple I added. Again, I added a dark base and I'll lighten it up. Now I'm adding some of this beautiful golden, almost rusty color in some of the clouds. And many of these colors I'm using, I think a lot of them are the Paul Rubens pastels. But again, I'm sorry to talk about my Patreon page so much. My patrons have my color notes where I mark the actual colors that I used for this lesson. And I'm carving in just little shapes. I've learned over the years of painting, I did not know this when I started, to really kind of zone out and just look at the relationships of objects, their shapes, and almost forget what the subject matter is and just look at the shapes. I find often if I think too much about these being clouds, I'm going to try to paint clouds. And sometimes clouds can be different from the mental perception of just wispy floating elements in the sky. I mean, this one, for example, there is a lot of energy and motion and gesture, and that's what I'm trying to capture. Now, I'm using this purple to it's kind of a middle value purple to kind of soften up that dark that I had put down before. Remember, I say this in all my videos. It's a layering process, and often we layer our darker values down first and then glaze over them to blend and make exciting color combinations. I think of nature and life, the way God made our earth is it's not a paint by number. We often see a reference image, and that's how we think of it. However, if you're painting plein air on location, life is about light and it's permeating through so many different elements, bouncing, interacting, and influencing elements in so many ways. In other words, color is not static, but it's alive. And I think that's why often this technique of layering the color brings more life and energy to your artwork. Now, I slowed this back down to real time. I'm showing you how I'm carving in negatively. Remember how I said I added a dark band at the back of the horizon there to represent buildings or trees? These could be trees. This is interpretive. And I just negatively carve those shapes into the trees with the colors from the mountain. Now I'm going to start adding some more color excitement after I added a little bit more of that pretty green there. Oh, and I brought the green even up into the sky a little bit. That's called color echoing, where you bring a color that you have in your painting in other areas of your painting to create a harmony and a connection to things. So I'm pulling a bit more of the pretty rusty color into the clouds, and notice that it's still quite textural, the sky, and I liked it at this point. I thought this texture was so pretty. I think I blended a little more towards the end, but this is a point where I really was liking the texture. I always like to tell you guys that in case you want to stop at an earlier stage. Now I'm using, this is a Paul Rubens pastel. It's a pretty, almost coral or salmon pink red. And oh, it just added life and beauty to some of those clouds. And now I'm glazing a little bit of a lighter purple on the tops of those mountains and a little bit into the sky, and just really looking at the positive and negative shapes as I'm painting here. All right, time to lighten things up. This is when it gets fun, when you can just add that pop of light. And this is the focal point energy of this painting. I mean, if you look at the reference image, that's what you see is that golden light. And also, too, I mention this often when I do sunset or cloud paintings. The source of light is almost always warmer. And as it gets further away from this sun or source of light, colors get cooler. That's why things are often pink when they're further away from the sun and more golden or yellow near the sun. Now, on that note, I'm getting in this pretty, oh, kind of like orange yellow color. And again, I like getting in a value a little bit darker first before you see me adding this lighter, kind of like golden yellow. And I'm just going to make a mark. I'm not trying to make a circle like a sun, just a little mark. That one I need to kind of maybe fix a little bit more. And like so many things with impressionistic painting, it's a suggestion. And I wanted to bring the light down a little bit lower so it's just barely peeking up behind that mountain. And still trying to keep that drama. I'm blending a bit of this lighter purple over some of that darker purple, but I'm trying to be careful because you can get in this pattern to where you put something down to make it darker and then you cover it up and all of a sudden you've made it too light again. So I'm trying to be careful with that. But I'm adding more drama with some of the warmer colors. And also, too, I hope you can see that even though I used a bit of a different color palette, I exaggerated color, I used that beautiful sagey green in the sky, and yet it still works. It's a great example of what I'm always saying, and other pastel artists often say, is that it's about the value. Now I'm adding some little fun, energetic marks. Sorry for the shaky easel. I have my tabletop easel on just like a table in my studio, and every so often I hit it and it makes the board shake. But again, little textural marks. I'm back to using a lighter gray. I'm also getting more neutral in color, and I'm doing that on the edges particularly because I don't want to pull the viewer right out of the painting. If I put a highly saturated color on the edge, that usually is not the best compositionally. And I saw there is a much lighter area in that little break in the clouds. So I was just getting in that little shape there. And now I'm going to give a little bit of energy and motion to the foreground. I do this often if I have a field and it doesn't really have much in it in the reference image. I'll give it like some convergence lines to make it feel a bit like rows, like in planting, like a crop. And I go back and do more of that later. But now I'm just still kind of defining things in the distance. That was a pretty little blue-green color I had. And now I'm starting these little lights. And as promised, I'm going to try to share with you how I do this with these large pastels on such a tiny surface. I make like a little test mark first. And once I see where it is, then I commit to it. And it is kind of hard to see where the pastel is landing. So that's really the trick, is you are feeling your way. And so I've learned this strategy over the years, and it's like everything. It really does get easier the more that you do it. And I added various colors to give the indication of like a town where you have street lights and maybe stoplights and various lights inside of houses. And a few more of those convergence lines in the field. And that's pretty much it. Here is the final, and I actually wanted to show you all 3 of the tiny paintings that I've already shared this month. I also have my little tiny business cards here. I just love those little business cards by mood.com. And it has been a beautiful month of tiny painting adventures so far for my Patreon page and for Monet Cafe Studio. Again, I would love for you to comment on this video. I've gotten to know so many of you, even just from the YouTube channel, even across the world. And that was actually my original concept of Monet Cafe Studio, to gather together as artists and enjoy this beautiful journey of color, life, and beauty. All right, everyone, God bless and happy painting.